Shut up and sit down.
Hi, it's iRacing commentator David Haynes. In 2019, I'm excited to be bringing coverage of the ChampCar Sim Series, the sim racing division of the ChampCar Endurance Series. Contested across 15 championship rounds using the 2015 Mazda MX-5, the winners will receive a free entry into a real ChampCar Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Each points round will be broadcast live by HJBC. Head to forum.champcar.org for full information and schedule. Sign-ups are open, so get registered now. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the track. Hello and welcome along to HJBC coverage of the first points round of the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series. We're at beautiful Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta for a 60-minute race tonight in these fantastic 2015 Mazda MX-5s. I'm David Haynes. Joining me is Aaron Thacker in the commentary booth. And Aaron, this is a very important race for a lot of people, and there's a lot on the line as well.
David, there definitely is a lot on the line tonight, and as always, it is a thrill to be joining you here in the booth at a lovely Road Atlanta track. It is a sunny, wonderful 75 degrees at a 79-degree track temp with these beautiful, speedy, and sprightly Mazda MX-5s, David. This is going to be a fun one tonight.
Yep, exactly. So what's happening right now is we have 7.5 minutes remaining of a 30-minute qualifying session. Decides the grid for the rolling start of, as I said, a 60-minute race. And it's getting late in the evening, I think. I'll check that. Yep, correct. Here at Road Atlanta. So what will happen is, in fact, the drivers will be racing into the dark through the sunset, and a fuel restriction on these cars means everyone will have to make a pit stop for fuel at some point during the race. So that's what to expect from this 60-minute race. Sunset, driving into the darkness, and one mandatory pit stop.
One mandatory pit stop, and let's not ignore the fact that that pit stop is going to be a very busy pit stop. As David, we have 40 cars on track tonight. That's a lot of tires, that's a lot of fuel, and that is a very busy area down there. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on when these guys all look to come down. There will be some pit stop sharing, pit box sharing, as Road Atlanta doesn't quite have enough to fill all these guys, but I'm sure everybody will cooperate down there.
Yeah, I think ChampCar drivers are very used to squeezing everyone into whatever the available pit lane is. So if you're tuning into this broadcast and you don't know a whole lot about the ChampCar Sim Series here, well, we showed a video at the top of the broadcast, but indeed, Aaron, the points champion of this series will be getting a free drive in a ChampCar Endurance Series race, a real-world race next year. If they're a team owner, they'll be getting a free entry into a race for their car. And if they're not already affiliated with a team, ChampCar will work with them to find a team that will have them on as a driver. And I think that kind of reward, that kind of thing on offer, worth a pretty penny, I must say, is one of the reasons we've got such a strong grid of 40 cars.
You're absolutely right, and it's these small series that really breed a lot of racing enthusiasts. David, a couple weekends ago, we all watched the Daytona 24. A few weekends ago, we raced in the Daytona 24 in iRacing. Last weekend, we had the Day 24 in real life, and not a lot of these guys could, shell out $500,000, $1 million to even consider entering in the race. But David, for a lot of us, this is the closest these guys are going to get. And man, regardless of how small the series feels, it feels really big to these guys. And an entry fee like that allows you to put time back in the car, maybe some extra drivers. And man, it really, really leads to a strong racing team. And just all in all, David, a really level playing field for everybody that just wants to go out there and race.
Yep, exactly. And there's 15 rounds to the ChampCar Sim Series in 2019. And the points structure means there's 4 drop rounds. What that means is that your 11 best results count towards your championship. So if you're tuning in right now and thinking, this looks like a lot of fun, that looks like a championship I might want to be a part of, that's a prize I might want to win. Well, don't worry, because if you join for the next round, your chance is still just as good as anyone else's to put in 11 good results and maybe find yourself at the top of the points table. I'm looking out at the qualifying that's taking place right now. I see 35 cars with a qualifying time in the books. And right up the top of that order, it's Jason Staney right now, John D. Allen in second, and then third is Alex Albert, fourth Tom Ellison, and fifth Bradley Daly. And there's still plenty of drivers out there in the sort of dying minutes of this session trying to improve their time.
Yeah, plenty of opportunity. And if you do a quick look at the grid here, David, which I'm doing with the timing, some of these boys are treating this as a secondary practice time. We have a Chris Flamion who has done 27 laps during this practice period versus a John D. Allen who has put down just a smoking 7 laps. So I think a lot of guys are really looking to feel their car out. I think maybe even testing some of the limits of the tires to see how long they could go, maybe even checking some fuel mileage. So lots of interesting strategy going on here in this session, not only just trying to find a lap time, maybe doing some full stints.
Yep, so what we might do right now, 2.5 minutes left in the session, is we will show you Andrew Fawcett's lap guide to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Brazelton, Georgia, home to Road Atlanta and to round 1 of the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series. I'm going to take you for a lap around this beautiful racetrack in my trusty ChampCar Sim Series MX-5. As we make our way through the final corner across the start-finish straight, we head down to turn 1. Real estate might be hard to come by here on lap 1, so be careful. Brake late into turn 1 and carry as much speed as you possibly can through the apex, as you have to go up the hill towards turn 2 and turn 3. Use a lot of the curb on the inside of turn 3, but don't use too much, as it'll actually send your car airborne. Now we head our way into the famous S's here at Road Atlanta. Flat in this MX-5, but not flat if you're too wide, so make sure you sort yourself out before you get here. We'll see a lot of drivers using as much curb as they can here in turn 5, maybe a little bit of gravel too. Spinning off to the left is easy as the car gets light over the crest. Now we make our way down to turn 6 and 7. They don't look tricky, but getting them right consistently is not easy. Turn 7 is crucial to a good lap time, as it leads on to the back straight. This is where we're going to see a lot of the action tonight, as drivers use the draft to make passes. We'll see a lot of lead changes, I'm sure, as drivers slipstream past each other towards turns 10A and 10B. The keys of the race tonight? Keep your car clean. Make sure you stay in the draft, and remember what your brake markers look like, because it's going to get a lot darker here at Road Atlanta as the drivers drive into the sunset. 10A is the battle of the late breakers, as you brake at the 1 board and try to maintain as much apex speed as possible. That about wraps it up for a lap around here at Road Atlanta, and I hope you enjoy it. This is going to be a great race tonight, as these drivers battle on one of the best racetracks in North America.
Well, fantastic guide to what to expect around this fantastic track. Very historied track in sports car racing, and a pretty fun one to drive, I'm told, as well. conditions out there, sun getting lower, track cooling off a little bit, and some drivers still finding speed out there, because where we were when we went to that video, well, John D. Allen has now taken pole position away from Jason Staney by just 1/10 of a second. They blisteringly quick 1 minute 37.673. The checkered flag now in the air for qualifying. Any driver on a lap can finish it still. There's been no one leaving the pit lane and no one starting any new laps. So I'm not seeing anyone out there on an absolute flying lap that look like they'll shake up the order too much. So what we'll do now is we'll have a look at your starting grid. So on pole position, as it all stands right now, John D. Allen, as I said, that 1 minute 37.6. Alongside him on the outside row, Jason Staney, a 1 minute 37.7. Then bringing up the second row, Tom Ellison and Bradley Daly. Behind them, if I'm actually seeing this correctly, which I am, Bradley Daly, Ryan Waldo and Matthew Smith. Behind that, you can have Alex Coffard, Mesage Tabola, Andrew Fawcett, and from 11th place, Aaron, maybe you can have a look there.
Absolutely, David. In 11th place, we have Shane Norton next to Chris Flamian in P12. Jason Gata, P13. Chris Nicely. David, I may have messed that one up a bit. Grayson Bedoli, P15. Hyde Arain, P16. Justin Hall, P17. Rushi Patel, P18. Ross Banfield with a 139.844 in P19. And David Evans, number 9. In car number 7 in P20. David, you take the rest there.
Yep. 21st is Kelly Stoops. 22nd, Nicholas Love. 23rd, Will Robbins. 24th, Lee Mullerman. 25th, Jacob Hiller. 26th, Benjamin Shout. 27th, David Carpenter. 28th, Jim McGill. 29th, Taylor James. And 30th, is Mark Antonucci. And Aaron, there's just a couple more cars there with a qualifying time.
Yeah, David, I'll bring it home for you. You got Corey Brown in P31 with a 141.77. Right next to him, Daniel Vaught. We have Andrew Shembry. Andrew Shembry with a 142 in P33, followed by Clayton Brown, P34, Kerry Morris, P35, and Corinne Carter. David, the remainder of the field, we did not get qualifying times from number 43, Brent Hardwood, number 53, Matthew Ragsdale, 549, Kyle Smith, Shane Cameron, Ben Cheney, Zach Sitzberg, Luis Morga, and Brent Haywood with no qualifying times tonight. David, we are gridding for the green here.
Yep, exactly. No qualifying time doesn't mean they can't take the start of the race. What it does mean is they will be at the very back of the grid. We'll see how many of those drivers do take the start of the race. And as you rightly point out, cars heading to the grid right now before we'll then have a full, not quite parade lap, I mean formation lap. And then at the end of that, the green flag will wave and will be underway for the first laps of the ChampCar Sim Series 2019. So looking at the grid, a lot of cars on there already. Not your pole sitter yet. He's still in the garage, but not a rush for John Allen to get on the grid just yet. Still got 1 minute for everyone to get themselves sorted out. And that lovely iRacing roof safety car will lead the field around.
It is a beautiful car. It is. David, I just want to talk about, there's a lot of fantastic tracks here at iRacing, and this is one of my favorites. It's even going to be more exciting to watch it race tonight in this Mazda because this is a momentum car, David, and it is this track. There's a lot of elevation change, so you really have to take advantage of your momentum. There's not a lot of horsepower with this car, so any sort of mistake, any sort of correction, any moment you have to lift the throttle, you are really going to get punished on this track. But I think we've got some pretty hefty skill on the grid tonight, so I'm anxious to see how these guys treat this track and treat this very much momentum car.
Yep, I'm exactly in agreement there. Fantastic track. You mentioned that elevation change, and there's a couple of points where I think that's really key, especially up out of turn 1. So it leads you up the hill into what's a blind turn 3, you come down through the S's and then back up through there. And all of those little bits as the safety car gets going and our field get rolling, all of those can, upset the car, cause it to oversteer a little bit, cause it to understeer. And I'm not sure where your eyeballs were during qualifying, but a lot of drivers, when they're at the limit into turn 1, picking up a lot of understeer into the grass on the outside. It's not a particularly sharp corner, but it's catching a lot out.
It really is catching a lot out, and that outside curb, typically curbs are inviting. It's like, hey, you know what, you've got a few extra inches here before you hit the danger zone. But David, that outside curb, there is so much elevation on that curb that you can really take those left side tires and it'll just rip the car away from you and push the car towards that outside wall. So anybody that is on that curb tonight, that is not a very inviting place to be. So I think you will watch those guys really try to avoid this curb and then that big old elevation change. David, there's not many opportunities to get a course cut here on this track, but that is one opportunity where if we are going to see some slowdown, it's going to come right there. And I think we all can say we really hope those guys are super careful when it comes to serving that course cut if they do get it in that blind little S right there.
Yep, and once it becomes dark, once these drivers are just seeing by the illumination of their headlights, then spotting your turn-in points, spotting your braking markers, all of those things become more difficult. I ran one of the practice races, and it's not easy in the dark. There's no floodlights, not a whole lot of track lights around here, unlike what drivers might expect during the night at some circuits like Daytona. So it gets very, very difficult. Now they're all on the back stretch. Not too long, that pace car will pull off. John Allen will be in control of this big field. And I'm looking, did we get a count of how many cars did take to the grid? I'm seeing a very, very healthy looking grid for this race.
David, I'm looking through as well. It looks like the vast majority, Zach Sitzberger did not appear to go grid, and neither did Louis Smorga, Matthew Ragsdale, or Shane Cameron. So just a few guys that chose not to grid tonight may be safe. But David, we're about to go green.
Yeah, exactly. Safety car, pace car has pulled off. John Allen is leading the field, and the green flag waves, and they're checking up 3 wide in the background there. Definitely the front of the field all going clean, and Jason Stain is right into the slipstream of the leader now into turn 1. 3 wide behind there. Easy, fellas. It's a 60-minute race. You can't win it on the first lap in the first turn of the first race, and they're going 2 wide for the lead. Jason Staney has grabbed that away from John Allen through turn 3 to lead the field. Alex Albert still holding on to 3rd place, but Bradley Daly has grabbed a position up into 4th. He's right there and dragging along Thomas Ellison as well. So those 5 making a little bit of a breakaway as they exit the S's, and they'll come down towards turn 6. The slipstream, very important in these cars. You want to stay close with the car ahead. Even if they're a teeny bit quicker than you, you can follow along with them if you just don't make any mistakes. And Alex Albert runs a little bit wide, stays with the pack. But Tom Ellison right on the back of Bradley Daly there as Jason Staney leads them down the back stretch, Aaron.
Yeah, going down to the backstretch. This top group here they're going to want to try and break away. I think we're going to see a little bit of some NASCAR pack racing here. The draft with these cars.
They are going to go 2 wide for the lead. Pole sitter John Allen wants that back. I think he's looking to the inside of turn 10. And they're side by side. He looks like he might get that one. If you're Jason Staney, I'd brake a little bit early, drop back in line and try and get a good exit. Does just about that, but John Allen, after 1 lap, resumes the lead. Alex Albert still got 3rd, Bradley Daly 4th, Thomas Ellison 5th. But my goodness, is Bradley Daly taking a rather unconventional line through the last corner, try and block out Thomas Ellison. Can't quite get a run at him this time. I think he'll sensibly stay in line. We'll have a look a teeny bit further in the field, because 6th place is Maciej Tobola and 7th Ryan Waldo. They are just a hair's breadth off this pack. And then 8th is Alex Coffard. 9th, Shane Norton is up 2 positions. And 10th, Christopher Flamian also up 2 positions. Looks like pretty clean racing all throughout there. I think a lot of these guys have put on their sensible hat or their sensible helmet and overalls and decided that indeed you can't win a 60-minute race with a pit stop in the first lap. Makes sense to just save a little bit of fuel, try and shorten your pit stop. That would be a good strategy because these cars don't fill particularly quickly. Every half a gallon you have to take will cost you maybe 3 or 4 seconds sitting stationary on pit road.
It absolutely will, David. And unfortunately, you have bestowed the announcer's curse on some drivers here in the first 3 minutes of this. I just watched an incident about 30 seconds ago. We can stay on camera with where we are now, but Lee Mullen, David Carpenter, and Corinne Carter had a very big incident at the top of the hill. Just down to the final corner there. Lee Mullen was up on 2 wheels at one point and was able to recover, David. So unfortunately, we've had a bit of bumping and banging here in the back of the field, but everybody still has their gas pedal down and remaining clean on the track.
Side by side for the lead once again. That's just sorted itself out. Jason Staney getting a great run off the exit of 10B. Better run up over the hill under the bridge. He takes the race lead once again away from John Allen. These two are swapping places, and as they do that, the 3 cars behind them are not falling back as Bradley Daly has maybe hit the wall there. Have a quick look at that, but he's come over turn 3, maybe got too much curb, gotten the wheels in the air, and spun it into the wall. We've got a replay of that one. That's big drama for one of our top 5 cars. He'll carry on. Can't see necessarily too much damage, but that's... Oh, the suspension and the steering is very, very sad.
David, that was just a big moment, and you know what? That's right what we were talking about at that very top section. You get yourself a little aggressive on the braking. That is a very unforgiving section of the track, and he just got sideways, David, and there was no saving that.
Yeah, precisely, and that has sort of narrowed down our front pack. Still Jason Staney and John Allen there. Alex Albert is with them, but through all of that, Tom Ellison wisely lifting out a little bit to avoid that spinning car in front of him. That's dropped him back from this pack into a little bit of a no man's land if he can't catch up. 5th is Alex Coffard, 6th Christopher Flamian, but there's a little battle for 7th place, so we'll quickly have a look at that one. Matthew Smith is leading, Jason Gotter is leading, Chris, let me say that's Nisley and Haida Arain. So that is 7th, 8th, and 9th. And points paid down all the way to 38th place in this series. So even if you're not battling for the lead, if you just keep showing up, put in your best results, I think, you know, something in the top 10 every round will see you sit very nicely towards the end of the season. And we've mentioned that big prize for the championship winner, but 2nd and 3rd place also get a very nice looking welded trophy as Matthew Smith, my goodness, gotten all sorts of out of shape, like we mentioned in the track guide video at the top of the broadcast. That area there, you can carry too much curb, get tricked into it, really upset the car. I think Matthew Smith may have damaged his a little bit, tapped the wall as well. So that's dropped him out of that battle for 7th place. He's now also pulling out of the way of this train that's coming through. Rushi Patel, Grayson Badoli, Justin Hall, and Shane Norton, all making their way down the back stretch, and they're all going to get past him.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate incident for Matt Smith, and David, that is a confirmation that he has damage. That right side is really, really pushed in along with that fender. This could be a terminal issue for him. He may spend a little bit of time in the pits, and David, only 7 minutes left in this race. There's not a big advantage if he's going to go in the pits right now and potentially gain any time. He's got to fix that car and try and get back out there.
Yeah, exactly. A fast repair or a spare car, as you will, I believe available to these drivers. But using it now, my goodness, do you run the risk in the remaining 53 minutes of any other damage, any other incidents being terminal? And how the fixed setup works for this series, there's not a fuel tank restriction, there's just a restriction in how much fuel you start the race with. So it's possible to fuel the car to get to the end from here for Matthew Smith, but it's a very early pit stop, and we're not expecting anyone not having trouble to pit too early. You're best off just staying out there, burning the fuel down, car gets lighter, and then it doesn't put you back the field into any traffic. So we'll have a look. Lead of the race once again. Jason Staney, John Allen, Alex Albert, showing how powerful the slipstream is, how powerful the draft is, especially down the backstretch. These cars, you know, not huge horsepower, probably looking maybe between 130, 140, 150. And at these speeds down the long straight, well, they punch a hole in the air, and John Allen is using that, just sitting behind, waiting. Does he go to the inside of turn 10? No, he doesn't. He just takes his line through what's a rather difficult chicane, carries his best momentum up the hill. He'll just stay cat and mouse, stay in line for the moment there. And Alex Albert in the 337 car, also holding on. Tom Ellison 2.5 seconds behind them, not fading quickly, but not getting the advantage of that slipstream, as John Allen sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 38.295.
David, he may have gotten the fast lap relays, but John Staney on that last lap, he went purple in Sector 2, so he may not have the benefits of that draft, but David, he is pushing that car extremely hard to able to go purple in Sector 2 there, but that is our quick lap of the race, so there's definitely some pace with these top guys, and they are in no sort of saving mode at this point. Obviously, we're still very early in this race, but man, this is some fun stuff up front here.
Yep, exactly, and not too many tenths off the pole time. These guys absolutely punching in quick laps right now, and they've managed to shake Alex Albert. I think he had a mistake through turn 3 or through the S's. He's now 1.9 seconds behind the leader. He'll have a lot of catching up to do. I think these two, the 62 car and the 48 car, barring any incidents, this is who we're looking at for the win. Two very, very rapid drivers. Alex Albert did a very stout job, 5 laps staying with them. Unfortunately dropped back now, but let's have a look. 6th place. A little battle going on there. Christopher Flamion, the Midwest man, is pulling along Jason Gotter. They're coming down in towards turn 10. Someone's looking to the inside there. Gotter looking to the inside of turn 10, not managing to make it work and just compromising his line. Car behind him is Maciej Tabola, who I think is off the lead lap indeed, but trying to keep his race alive, trying to get a lap back here. If he's too forceful, costs the car ahead too much time, that'll probably be considered a little bit unsporting.
A bit unsporting, and David, just a little further back there, we have the battle for P10, 11, and 12. And I just watched Grayson Bedoli in the car number 19. I don't know what has happened, David, but he has lost a whole boatload of spots here in this last lap. Every car in front of him, Jason Goda, Hydra Arain, Chris Kinsley, they all passed him, David, in that final sector. So Grayson Bedoli in P14 has had a bit of an issue here. I think he's recovered himself, but he lost a whole load of spots on that last lap. I'd like to see him get back up there, but he was doing well up to that point.
Yeah, indeed. And you mentioned that battle for 10th place. That's raging on, looking very close. Justin Hall leading a train of 4 other cars. He runs a little bit wide, will still get the car stopped for that crucial corner towards the apex, get the power down for the long straight, but not as well as Rushi Patel behind him. It's right in the slipstream, also dragging along Shane Norton and Andrew Fawcett, who's in, I'm going to call that the plaid Mazda. And so Justin Hall's going to look to try and defend the inside of turn 10, but I think Rushi Patel has got that potentially done. Got a lot more momentum, got a car's length clear now, to be able to break on the racing line, and indeed, Justin Hall just slips in line behind. Still Shane Norton coming along. Rushi Patel's just a little bit deep there, and Justin Hall will get an opportunity to come back. So racing all down the field, too wide for 10th place. And I think Shane Norton's also going to make their way through. So it was a good move into turn 10 for Rushi Patel, but then just too deep on the brakes, no momentum off the corner. And with how much horsepower these cars have got, keeping your minimum speed up through the corners is absolutely critical to making any speed whatsoever. Now Andrew Fawcett will also look to grab the 42 car.
That's a fantastic example of what we kind of alluded to in the beginning of this race. Not a lot of horsepower with these cars. You've got to keep the momentum. Rushi Patel had a fantastic pass on the backstretch there and got into that final sector. I think you're going to see a lot of guys really just gently give in that final sector. That is not an area where you really want to go too wide. That's a big commitment section and a potential dangerous section to make a pass early on in the race. But Justin Hall let him go by, and unfortunately, because of Rushi's kindness, he ended up losing 2 spots in a matter of 2 corners.
Yeah, precisely. But if he stays with this group, then I don't think he's lost too much. You just want to be part of this pack, making good lap speed, and then maybe in the last 10 minutes of the race, you can work out your differences about that and try and grab that track position. Justin Hall leading the train. You can see how much Shane Norton closes up. Hall goes to the middle of the track, makes Shane Norton pick his side. Shane Norton can't make a decision, backs out of it, but Rushi Patel wants that spot back, looking to the inside of turn 10, very deep on the brakes. We get it turned, get better momentum off the corner this time. He will. It slows those 2 drivers of Norton and Patel down. Andrew Fawcett and Grayson Badoli close as they've ever been. And Andrew Fawcett racing a livery of his own design, Aaron.
It is very nice. And David, I'm trying to find when it happened, but we have a change for position at the top. Jason Staley has passed John D. Allen. David, is that correct? Am I seeing that?
Those 2 in the lead, 3 seconds away from Alex Albert in third. They've just been sort of slipstreaming each other, passing the lead back and forward. I have a feeling like this is 2 competitors who have got a level head on, know what's going on. If the driver behind makes a move, sort of letting it happen so that they don't lose time, get pushed backwards into Alex Albert, into Tom Ellison. So these 2 working together a little bit, running away with it for the moment. And they know that in the last 10 minutes, that's when they can get the elbows out, make big defensive moves, park it on the apex, all of that such. So Jason Staney still leading John Allen through turn 10 right now, and they will complete 9 laps this time at the end of this lap. Quick rundown. So Staney leading, Allen second, third Alex Albert, fourth Tom Ellison. Those 2 drivers where they started, but fifth Alex Coffard is up 3 spots. Sixth Christopher Flamion moving up through the field, also up 6 spots. It's a little battle still. 7th and 8th Jason Gotter and Haida Arain. 9th Chris Neasley, who's got some fans in our broadcast, so they're cheering him on in that 691 car. 10th, Justin Hall has managed to get a second clear of Patel, and Fawcett's managed to get through on Shane Norton. Grayson Badoli still on that battle, and David Evans being dragged up into it as well. So Justin Hall getting clear of that train, and David Evans hooking his caboose to the back of it.
Yes, he is, and this is some really, really good stuff. David, just a quick report from the pit road. That top sector that I think we're going to continue to talk about, it has now claimed its 5th victim. We have another car on the pits, Will Robbins and Tyler James. David, exact same incident in the area, got a little loose, got a little grass, so that top sector has taken more victims.
And it's one of the sort of mantras of the ChampCar Sim series, because a lot of our drivers here tonight are drivers in the real-world ChampCar Endurance series. They know a thing or two about driving a car around a track. Plenty of them got some experience. One of the mantras here at the ChampCar Sim series is pixels are cheaper than Armco. And I think a few of those drivers will be rather happy that although their race has ended, they're not on the hook for a big bill repairing the circuit or repairing their car. So, looking right now, 11th place, Andrew Fawcett doing a very good job holding on to that 11th place, that train behind that we mentioned. Tell you what, though, Rishi Patel has always looked very aggressive every time I've had my eyes. Always willing to have the nose look towards the inside of a corner. Doesn't matter where it is, and someone is stopped on the pit straight that they just went past. It's hearing that it was Hyder Arain, who was running very well up the order, has had some kind of problem in the number 4 car. So I think we will have a look at that, because that was a car that was running in 7th place and just parked on the front stretch. Did they come undone in some kind of battle? So they were battling with Jason Gotter for 7th place, and through the last corner, I think Jason Gotter has had to lift out of the throttle a little bit, and Hyder Arain's just sort of come across to assume the racing line when they weren't clear. It's been a very nasty accident for both of them. Jason Gotter hit the wall as well. It's continued running with some damage, so high drama already. And those two drivers probably not going to be happy with either, but I can't pin the blame on either driver there.
No, I don't think I want to place any blame either. That is a very odd section to have that sort of a wreck, but that just comes down to making sure you understand how long the front of your car is and how much bumper you got behind you, David. As we talked about, this is the first race of the year. These guys are getting familiar with how each other drives, each other's behavior, and truly figuring out, when you're sitting behind that wheel, some of your visual markers. How much bumper do I have in front of me? How much can I make to make this cutoff move? And I think that maybe just be a few first race jitters, not quite understanding where the car is yet. So unfortunate incident. They'll probably have a little chat down on pit road saying, hey man, what happened down there? But I think they should be okay, David. They'll get a fast repair and hopefully get back on track. And right as I say that, Patel number P10 goes off just outside of turn 1 there, David.
I guess we'll have a look at what's happened to Patel then. Just running rather wide, and I mentioned it, it's a corner that's more difficult than it looks. Very easy to pick up a bit of understeer. It's maybe what Patel has done, and then once you're on the grass on the exit, well, the corner keeps going and you can't turn as well on the grass. Costs you a lot of time. Car is still straight and will rejoin the race and continue. He's currently in 12th spot. I've got some love for Nicholas Love in the broadcast right now, because his mate Charles is wondering how he is going. Well, 14th place is that number 647 car right now. And I have to say, up 8 spots from a starting position of 22, keeping that blue Mazda MX-5 very clean, and that's a good start to the race there. And we'll look, I guess, once again to the lead, though. The pace is picking up there. Last lap for Jason Staney in the 1 minute 37s, 1 minute 37.984. He's managed to pull 6/10 on John Allen. That might close up again, but I think this is the biggest gap we've seen for the lead almost all race.
This is definitely, and David, to your point, Jason Staney, he went purple in Sector 4. And oh my gosh, Jason Staney caught a lot of air coming out of the top S's there. But Jason Staney went purple in Sector 4 last lap. But John D. Allen still holds fast lap of the race with a 37.914. But Jason Staney's coming for that, as you noted, on his last lap. Very, very, very quick. So, David, we are noticing here, we are seeing a beautiful sunset quickly approaching us here. And it's 76 degrees on track, so things are cooling off. Sun is going down. I'm sure it's a nice welcome breeze inside these open cockpit cars.
Yep, exactly. And the headlights on these Mazdas just turning on. It is getting dark out there, and my eyes are on 7th place. Justin Hall is trying to go around the outside of Chris Nicely for what's now 7th place. These guys were battling for 11th earlier. Some cars ahead have had some issues. They've kept it clean. That's promoted these guys up the order, and that's what you need to do in this ChampCar Sim Series. Just stay out of trouble. So Chris Nicely holds on to 7th place, and Andrew Fawcett is going side by side with Justin Hall for 8th place. But Justin Hall has the advantage of grabbing the slipstream of the car ahead. The three of them come into turn 10. Will Justin Hall be very brave on the brakes to the inside? He will. He's going to try and grab that 7th place. Has he gone in a little bit too hot? He's just managed to make it work. Good exit. Chris Nicely back into 8th place. And 6th place, Christopher Flamion is coming into the pits. Is that a scheduled stop, Aaron, or is there problems for the 11 car?
I'm checking the replay real quick, and I do believe that this is probably a scheduled stop. We have seen 2 cars, Kyle Smith and Brian Cheney, just before that, David, did take a stop. So I think some of these guys are starting to plot out some of their pit strategies, maybe a little fuel. So this does believe to be a scheduled stop from Chris Flamion. Oh, and he overshoots his pit box. Oh my goodness, that's going to cost him a few seconds. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, if he was in a close battle coming into the pits, well, those 3 or 4 seconds from missing his pit box will cost him quite a bit. It might drop him out of a potential slipstream that could have helped him. Maybe he's coming in now because he doesn't fancy taking the pit entry in the dark. There is a chicane of sorts in the pit entry. You come in too hot, it can be a very tricky pit entry for sure. So Andrew Fawcett has also gotten through on Chris Nicely now. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th on circuit as they run. Because as we mentioned, Christopher Flamion from 5th position, 6th position, my apologies, coming into the pit lane. Now Andrew Fawcett, 7th place, is lining up his friend Justin Hall. Justin will hold the inside towards turn 10. He's going to make Andrew brake very deep on the outside, but he does indeed get that done. He gets clear before the braking zone, be able to take the proper racing line through the corner, as much speed on the exit as he can. And Andrew Fawcett, the driver, very kindly putting together our Road Atlanta preview that you saw before the race.
Yeah, no question that he knows this circuit and some fine driving here, but he's got to watch out for that driver behind him. David, Justin Hall started in P17. He is up to P7. He is having a fantastic race, which is why I think you saw him not really challenge Andrew Foss on that, because he's probably sitting pretty happy in that car right now with just over 36 minutes to go. He is driving a fantastic race so far, and he's keeping up no problem with the Andrew Fawcett, who shot our beautiful demo lap.
Yeah, indeed. A bit further back, 10th place, Grayson Badoli has managed to get a little bit clear. Yoshi Patel, who we saw went rather wide through turn 1, lost a bunch of spots, is now trying to gain some of those positions back, but he goes very heavy over the curbs on the exit of the S's. Like I said, you can see just from the body language of the car how hard he's driving it, how aggressive he's pushing it. And behind them, they've just dropped David Evans, who's holding on to 12th place, who's dragging along Bradley Daly, who was right up in the top 5 earlier before clouding the wall. He's done some repairs in the pit lane, brought that car back out. Bradley Daly is down in 33rd spot right now. Maybe hoping that in the darkness he can sneak some more positions back. 13th place, Ross Banfield and Nicholas Love. And they are side by side coming towards turn 10. Nicholas Love is on the inside in the deep blue car. Pabst Blue Ribbon is to the outside. Braking very, very deep is Ross Banfield, but he makes it work, gets towards the apex, and maybe that was actually Nicholas Love braking a little bit early, but Banfield grabs that position. Nicholas Love is getting away with it. And Andrew Fawcett, we were just talking about him, he's on pit lane as well now to take his service. And we'll just keep looking down the field at the battles, because I think all of these drivers, regardless of where they are in the field, if they're having a fun race, if they're in a battle, they deserve some airtime, some coverage. ChampCar's a very sort of egalitarian series like that. It's not necessarily for the people with the biggest budgets or the drivers with the biggest talent. It's for anyone with a passion for road racing, who just wants to get out there, maybe with some friends. So, my director just said something that I missed. Yep, so we're looking back, 15th place, Jacob Hiller, Kelly Stoops. And Hiller is up 10 positions from where he started on the grid. Doing a good job there. Dragging along Kelly Stoops is up 5 positions. So these two, both, I would say, with very clean-looking cars, Aaron, no damage on them, doing the sort of slow and steady will get you a good result.
Slow and steady will indeed get you a good result. And we have P5 Andrew Cofford is now in pit lane, and that is a scheduled stop for him.
And Alex Coffer. Don't merge the two together in one person.
Excuse me, David. Thank you for the correction. I get very excited about one of our top 5 drivers getting in the pit lane. I appreciate the correction. But I'm also watching Alex Albert and Thomas Ellison, both in P3 and P4 respectively. They are working through some really, really difficult traffic right now. They've got car number 37 just in front of him. David, I'm trying to find car. That's Andrew Shembry, and they're working their way through. Thomas Ellison with a nice little dive-in pass. Let's see how much room he's going to give him. Plenty of room. But, oh my goodness, just as I say that, he almost gets hit, Thomas Ellison. These guys got to be coming in here pretty soon, but they have really kind of kept the same gap throughout the entire race as these pit cycles continue.
Well, yeah, exactly. Alex Albert was following the lead train of 3 earlier and then got dropped off that. He's now fallen back a tiny bit towards Tom Ellison, who now has the advantage of the draft. So now a battle for 3rd and 4th as more drivers come onto the pit lane, like Chris Nicely and Justin Hall. The pit lane's looking very enticing to a lot of these drivers now.
It definitely is. Yeah, my timing screen is lighting up as all these pit cycles are continuing to kind of cycle through. I'm trying to figure out if we have any winners on the pit road. I think some of these guys are averaging around between a 46 to 50 second stop. I don't know if that's a little extra fuel, maybe taking a little optional damage repair, but these times are varying just a bit as we watch Tom Ellison get a fantastic run on Alex Albert coming out of corner 1. Tom Ellison looking to take a bit of a chunk out of that gap just before the pit stop. But Alex Albert really took a big chunk out of that first corner.
Okay. Yeah, my thoughts exactly, Arrow. Great minds thinking alike just for once there. Both of these guys, I mean, that just shows you how hard they're pushing. Alex Albert, Tom Ellison, both members of Team Huge Ass. So we've seen them race against each other plenty of times before, and I have to say, between the two of them, there's always just a little bit of pride on the line, a little bit of bragging rights, a little bit of, oh, how did you go in ChampCar Sim Series? Oh, 4th place, I got 3rd. They let each other know about it. It's important to them, sort of where they stand in the pecking order. Would you think that's fair to say?
That is absolutely fair to say. Everybody wants some bragging rights, regardless of if you're in a practice session, you're in a weekend warrior day, but you always want to say, listen, if I could have gotten a trophy, if I could have stood on the podium box, I grabbed myself a P4 after racing an hour in a very challenging track, and not to mention tonight, we'll be racing in the dark. That is definitely brag-worthy, and maybe a little beverage after the race.
Potentially getting closer for 3rd and 4th place, and we've had more pit callers, and I have to report, as Alex Albert also goes for the pit lane, coming in very hot, does get it stopped, won't hit the barriers there, but we're indeed seeing around 24 to 25 seconds is the normal amount of stationary time for these drivers to take on what I think is maybe 3.5 gallons of fuel necessary, but some long pit stop times for the likes of Brian Cheney and Justin Hall, it was stationary 2 minutes 26 seconds. So don't know what the problems were for Justin Hall, but that's dropped him way down the order. He was having a very good race looking at the top 5. Even more cars come in towards pit lane. I'm watching Alex Albert taking tires, and he's just managed to get that done within the time it takes to get fuel. So that's interesting, or maybe he hasn't, because he's been stationary 27 seconds. That's maybe 4 or 5 seconds longer than some guys who are taking just fuel only. So lots of pit stops going on, and then in a couple of laps time we'll have to see how that's all shaken out.
Yeah, we are really getting to the bare minimum on how long these guys can start out here. David, I'm putting a quick scan of my sheet, and I'm seeing roughly 10 drivers that have not pitted, and I can't imagine they can really go much longer on fuel, because as we mentioned, this final sector, there's a big old hill you got to climb up, and if your car is sputtering, that is not a place you want to be. However, you get just below that walkway. You got a nice coasty lane to get down there, and just as I say that, P3, Thomas Ellison, car number 24, is headed in for his pit stop.
Yeah, indeed. What I'm watching right now is a battle for 8th place. Christopher Flamion and Andrew Fawcett. Both of these guys have made their pit stop. This is a battle for position, and they're dragging Shane Norton along as well. Flamion's holding the inside line, making the plaid Andrew Fawcett go the long way around. And oh my goodness, Christopher Flamion hard on the stoppers, nearly gets rear-ended by Shane Norton, who's running in 9th place. Shane Norton gets a better run out of the next corner, goes right into some of the slipstream of Christopher Flamion, who had a good pit stop. Is now not looking like he's quite got the pace of these guys around him. Andrew Fawcett's trying to skip away, but he's not quite going to do that. Flamion will drop back into the slipstream of Shane Norton, who's going to try and grab the slipstream of Andrew Fawcett. And there's 2 cars ahead of them that haven't pitted. And that's Kelly Stoops and Jacob Hiller, and Hiller going into the pit lane now. Stoops staying out. And your leader right now, John Allen, has not pitted, whereas Jason Staney has. So we'll look when John Allen takes his pit stop, where they come out. Do they come out together for the lead of this race? Until then, plenty of battles up and down the field.
There are plenty of battles. And David, quick jump back to Chris. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and quickly jump up to this group where Tom Ellison he is battling with some very difficult traffic that is not entirely fighting along with him, but is Tom Ellison, Alex Cofford, and Alex Albert. This is some pretty intense traffic. However, that car in front of Tom Ellison, that is not for position. He needs to make quick work of that because Carford and Alex Albert are looking pretty opportunistic if Thomas Ellison cannot make work of this car number 43.
Yeah, all 3 of these guys have made their pit stops. And like I said, I thought it was a slightly long stop for Alex Albert. He came into the pits from 3rd position. He's running in 5th now. His pit stop was 4 seconds longer than Alex Coffard, who was running down in 5th, a little bit off the pack. And now after the pit stops has found himself embroiled in this battle for 3rd place. Tom Ellison, Alex Coffard, and Alex Albert. So Coffard making gains with the pit strategy with his time on the pit lane. Now, that's something we are going to see all season long because every race will have a required pit stop. There will absolutely be an advantage to the drivers who work out exactly how much fuel they need to take, how to attack the pit lane entry, how to attack the pit lane exit, and who don't overshoot their pit box like we saw 1 or 2 drivers do. And I want to say, as Kelly Stoops comes onto the pit lane, that we've only got 1 car out there that hasn't pitted, and that's your leader, John Allen, who's coming into the pit lane right now. So we'll watch this one because Jason Staney is out there, has already pitted. We need to see where they come out together because that is absolutely critical for the race lead. Has Jason Staney managed an undercut? Will John Allen, by going longer, maybe need less fuel, be able to get out with a lead? All remains to be seen. So John Allen into the pit lane, stops in his pit box, and you can see the car being lifted up on the jacks. A tyre change for John Allen. I'm not sure you can do a tyre change just within the time it takes to put the fuel in, but I'm seeing it was 28 seconds stationary from Jason Staney. John Allen's now at 25 and he goes, so 3 seconds shorter stop from John Allen making the pit exit. Where is Staney? Just coming through turn 1 now, and John Allen has made a great jump by staying out longer, not giving Jason Staney the slipstream, not the draft, not that advantage, and making a slightly shorter stop. What was 2 inseparable drivers for the first 35 minutes is now a 2-second lead for the number 48 car of John Allen. That's potentially a tactical masterstroke that's paid serious dividends, 48 car over the 62. Now jump back and look at those battles that are taking place, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm just to make a quick comment on John Staney. He was no slouch on that lap trying to challenge John D. Allen. It just that pit stop delta, David, that's really kind of where they are right now, and I think John Staney is really suffering on that. I mean, a draft is so important here, but that final lap when John D. Allen was in the pits, he ran a 38 dead, which is just a tenth off his fastest lap. So he was trying, but man, fantastic fuel-saving effort by John D. Allen, and an even better pit stop to maintain a very, very comfortable lead with 23 minutes left to go in this race.
Indeed. So eyes on the battle for P3 now that first and second have been separated. So Tom Allison still leading from Alex Coffard from Alex Albert. Coffard closes up a lot down the back straight. Allison positions his car just half a car width towards the inside, try and disincentivize Alex Coffard from making a move to the inside, and it works just this time. Alex Albert also being dragged along in the train. 22 minutes to go, pit stop's done. This is just a pure on-track battle. Who just has the racing nous to make it work, and Coffard's looking to the inside of turn one, doesn't have enough of a nose in to be able to take the corner, so just backs out, lets Allison take it. But certainly the lights of those cars behind will be illuminating the interior of Tom Allison's car. He'll know that they're there. They'll be shining bright in his mirrors. I think Coffard's, just looking for his opportunity, but maybe also just trying to get somewhat in the head of Tom Allison. Alex Albert in fifth there. He's right on the back of that train as well, running all the way out on the exit of the S's.
That was a very dangerous move by Alex Albert. And David, if we can ask our producer to quickly do a quick back sector ride with Alex Albert so we can just see what it's like to be inside this car with those headlights right now and how important it is for Alex Coffard and Thomas Ellison getting that extra light for that final car, because Alex Coffard, if you're by yourself out here, David, as we noted, there's not a lot of overhead lighting here. So if you've got a pack to provide a few extra lumens behind you, this is extremely important because it is not well lit out there. And these Mazda lights, they're good, but they're not going to give you enough light to really give you enough to shine out there. So these guys are using each other's draft and using each other's headlights just as much as they are.
Yep, exactly. Taking just a quick note of the time is 6:30 p.m. on the 30th of January in session, and that means January in Georgia. The sun doesn't set too late, so you see that it's getting dark very rapidly out there. And in fact, the iRacing blimp in the sky is illuminated, and you can start to see it everywhere you go now. Certainly the headlights getting more and more important. We're only 5 minutes away from potentially total darkness. And that's when it becomes so difficult to spot all of your braking markers, your turn-in markers. And you get just a little bit scruffier. And I found that being the car behind, as Alex Coffard has a look at Tom Allison towards the inside, will get it done, is actually a little bit of an advantage. You've got the car ahead of you. You can see where they are relative to the apex when you need to turn in. The car in front, they don't have those reference points. So it almost benefits the car behind and keeps people sort of stuck together as a pack. So Coffard up 5 spots from 8th place on the grid, grabs 3rd place through some great laps, but also some great pit strategy. He's really launched his way up there, and Alex Albert's grabbing all of the slipstream from behind, and he's going to look to the inside.
He is going to look to the inside here. This is a spot where is he going to go 2 for really deep next to Alex Coffard? Is Alex Coffard looking to give it up? No, he is not. And I'm worried Alex Albert doesn't have enough oomph to get up this hill. Thomas Ellison, no, he's going to hold back. Fantastic dive into that final sector by Alex Albert to make a very opportunistic pass on Thomas Ellison. So Alex Albert is right back into the P4 position. He is just 1 spot below where he started, David. And look, big moment for Alex Coffard going into, I don't believe there was any contact by Alex Albert, but Coffard definitely got scared with that very aggressive move by Albert into turn 1.
Yeah, indeed. Just a wiggle from Coffard, and it shuffles him from 3rd. Will it be back to 4th or 5th, too wide through the S's for Coffard and Ellison? And if they're not careful, this will let Albert get away. So we'll have to see. Will that sort itself out in this corner? I think Ellison trying to go around the outside has done it. Will hopefully still have the slipstream of Alex Albert. Albert will be thinking about trying to get away. Battle for 6th place, going just a little bit further back so that Huge Ass Broadcasting isn't only broadcasting Huge Ass. Andrew Fawcett leading Shane Norton. Had a bit of a slow start to the race. Didn't make up a whole lot of positions, but he's still there, and now he's going to try and go around the outside of Andrew Fawcett in the back section of the track. I think it'd be wise to just lift out there, make sure you get a good run out of these two corners, try and use the slipstream down the back stretch into the hardest braking zone of the lap, turn 10, and both of them getting plenty of the inside curb, bouncing over that, getting the power down on the exit. I think this is one to watch because Andrew Fawcett will be giving up a big slipstream to Shane Norton right now. Norton's closing, just grabs 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour extra, and I think breathes out of the throttle a little bit. He's not going to do it now. He's just going to wait, pick another moment. Well, he looks to the inside, but he's nowhere near close enough to make that move work. So Andrew Fawcett right now holds on to 6th place, dragging along 7th place Shane Norton. We'll have a look at P10.
Yeah, David, just a quick comment there on Shane Norton. Yeah, that was a huge lift in that section there. I'm starting to wonder if there may be some fuel savings going on there, because there is almost a 3-second difference in the pit stop between Andrew Fawcett and Shane Norton with 17 minutes left. Oh, and a big moment for Shane Norton into turn 1. David, that is a tank slapper, and he gets it shut down just before hitting the wall. Oh my goodness, that is so unfortunate to see with that great battle right there. But Shane Norton finding his way back on track after a vicious tank slapper into turn 1. David, I think he just got a little too deep, got a little aggressive on the trail braking, and it was going around.
Yeah, exactly. So just watching the replay of that one, and he just maybe turns in a little bit too aggressively, uses too much of the lift off oversteer, the off throttle turn in of this car. Rear gets a bit loose, and then whoop, so it flicks back the other way as he tries to correct it. So that's taken away the battle we had between Fawcett and Shane Norton. So let Grayson Badoli get up into 7th place and put Shane Norton back in 8th. Matthew Smith is 30th, but as I said, battle for 10th. Benjamin Shout has just gotten through on Christopher Flamion maybe about half a lap ago. So battle for the last spot in P10. Shout getting clear just a little bit of Flamion, who has to take a shallower entry to the corner there because of lap down car Corrine Carter. It's a battle behind them as well though, 12th and 13th. Kelly Stoops and Maciej Tabola. Have a look what's going on with that one right now. And Maciej has just gotten through, I think, because there was some traffic that they were dealing with. My goodness, is there lots of cars on the start of the back stretch there. So that's a change of position. And it's now all one big train. 12th place, Tabola. 13th place, David Evans. 14th place, Jason Gotter. And 15th, Kelly Stoops getting shuffled all the way to the back 4 cars.
David, and if you may be asking yourself, hey, where did Rishi Patel go? He was in P10, doing very well. He had a massive moment, and guess where? That top section got massively loose, and unfortunately David hit the wall, and he has been in the pits the last 2 laps. So a very strong competitor, Rishi Patel, playing in P10. He is no longer there because of an incident in that top section again.
Fascinated by this last 15-minute battle. 15th, all in a train. They go into turn 1. And Tabola is leading Evans. Is leading Gotter. Is leading Stoops. And they are trying to be all in a line, but Will Robbins is a lap down on the racing line there. And what he's done is he's holding up Jason Gotter and Kelly Stoops from the end of this battle. And he's separated this pack in 2. I'm sure if you're some of those drivers behind, you're getting a little bit frustrated with some of the traffic out there. Certainly the case, what's letting is Maciej Tabola just get away a little bit. The battle hasn't been completely broken up though. Some other ones further down, 17th place, Jim McGill and Justin Hall. Justin Hall had a very long pit stop. I'm not sure why that was, but he's going to try and work that one out. In fact, Justin Hall has gotten through since I last looked. It's now McGill and Ross Banfield for 18th and 19th.
Yeah, these guys are really spread out a little bit. This you a fantastic job kind of covering this, but it's really spread out here in the last few minutes. Tobola and Evans have kind of broken away from Jason Gott. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe a few issues, not as much confidence working through traffic here, but he is really, really down on some of these sectors, and he's going to have Kelly Stoops up his bumper here pretty quick if he doesn't pick up the pace.
Well, looking back at the lead, though, because we're praising John Allen for a very quick pit stop, got him 2 seconds clear of Jason Staney, but great lap times by Jason Staney, and maybe the traffic, of which there seems to be plenty of, not working in the favor of John Allen, as he has to get out of the throttle in turn 1 because he's got a car to the inside. And Jason Staney also gets through, so John Allen being a little bit of the snowplow right now through the traffic, letting Jason Staney catch up 1.5 tenths, make it 1/10 now through the S's. 12 minutes to go for the lead of the first race of the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series. Both of them pushing very hard, taking a lot of curb the exit of the S's. That's how you know they're pushing hard, and more traffic yet again. Number 48 car of John Allen, that car going all the way out of the way through the grass and some of the gravel as well. And Allen is wide of the apex, coming onto the final, onto the back stretch. Jason Staney gets a better run. It's right in the slipstream. Will we see a change for the lead? John Allen taking the middle of the road, saying, you know, if you're going to pass me here, you're going to have to go all the way to the inside. And Staney just backs out of it a little bit. John Allen resumes the racing line towards the braking zone, and 1-2 in a line they go into turn 10A, 10B, up the hill. Better run out of there from Jason Staney. So the lead battle absolutely hot. The battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th spicy as well. The pointy end of the field, it's all drama.
It is all drama, and as we scroll back to Alex Crawford looking to make a pass on Alex Albert, I feel like these guys have done this all race, back and forth, a little bit of give. However, there is no give from Alex Albert on Alexander Crawford, and Crawford makes the move stick. Now he's got to get word himself back up to Tom Ellison, who's run away just a little bit because of that pass. But yeah, these guys have been doing this all race. And back up to the battle between Jason Staney and Allen. David, there was a bump draft by Staney the entire way on that backstretch. Oh, and we got a car off in turn 1 facing the wrong way. My goodness. All right, great job of that driver staying out of the racing line to avoid this really close battle between 3, 4, and 5 right there.
Yep, Corinne Carter running 33rd position. Already made their pit stop. Everyone has, as I touched on. We've lost that battle from the mid-pack. Tobola, Gotta, Evans, Stoops, all been separated. All just separated out, and they were so very, very close earlier. But 18th place has a battle. Ross Banfield, Chris Nicely, who's had some problems because he's down 5 spots from where he started. Was running much higher up before. My goodness, they are side by side, and in the dark I can't immediately tell where that is. I think Nicely, it's definitely got a lot of pace, and has, I think, made its way through on the back stretch, looking towards the inside of turn 10, and Banfield has to drop back into the slipstream. So now instead of -5 positions, just -4 for Chris Nicely, making up another spot from Ross Banfield. And 10 minutes left in the race. Nicely's only 8 seconds behind Justin Hall, and potentially lapping a little bit quicker in some places. So it's not all doom and gloom. Certainly one of those races where even if you have a mistake, a problem, an error, put your head down, get back out there, put in some consistent laps, and there's always something to be gained. As I said, points all the way down to 38th position. So for every car running, every position matters.
That was a fantastic analogy for my next car that I'm watching here, putting your head down and going for it. I'd like to focus on P10 car number 36, Benjamin Shout. He gridded P26. He is now P10. That is the quintessential of what you have called put your head down and go for it. This guy, he's a little by himself right now, but I don't think he cares, because if I started at P26 and I'm riding in P10 with 8 minutes left in this race, I'd be pretty darn happy in that cockpit right now.
Yeah, indeed. So let's look back at the lead. Jason Staney has pulled just a little bit over John Allen. No, sorry, Jason Staney has taken the lead away from John Allen and then pulled 0.6 of a second. 0.6 of a second. My goodness, I've got it the wrong way around. So from second on the grid, Staney is trying to run away with this one. A little bit of traffic through turn 10. And I certainly, if you are in that traffic, you know when a car's coming up behind you, because it absolutely illuminates the inside of your car interior. You can see it from the driver's seat. And for the first time in a very long time, leaders are separated by more than a second. Staney getting a good run out of the final corners towards the line and then through turn 1. Now it's 2.5 seconds. That is absolutely crucial. If you've got anything left, if you've got a little bit more pace to put in, my goodness, is now the time to put it down, because when they crossed the line, it was 5 laps to go for the leaders, which means it's also 5 laps to go in the battle for 3rd position, where I'm looking, and Alex Coffard on the last lap grabbed 3rd place from Tom Ellison. Alex Albert still riding around in 5th, but I can't see this battle ending any time other than on the brakes for the last time into turn 10. So 3rd place battle still absolutely ferocious, and Alex Coffard leading the train, bouncing over the curbs here and there. Alex Albert also going very wide, once again, all over the curbs on the exit of the S's. Down in 14th. It had all been split apart, but now there's a 3-car battle for 14th place, because Ryan Waldo has made some fantastic moves in the last lap, putting himself ahead of David Evans and Kelly Stoops to grab 14th place. So battle going on there as well, Aaron.
There is a battle, but David, we're about to have another swap. I think we've lost count. Thomas Ellison has now worked his way past Alex Coffard, who got a terrible exit before this long straight here. So I believe every single lap these guys have made a swap. Now, is Alex Albert going to go for it? Alex Coffard, what's going to be the situation here? I think they're going to be okay with that right there, but my goodness, these guys, this is not going to slow down anytime soon, and I think, like you said, David, these guys are going to continue to do this for the next 6 minutes of this race, but it's all about who makes the last move on the last lap.
Huge wobble for our leader Jason Staney through the S's this time, because John D. Allen has shown that the slipstream in these cars goes back a little bit further than just the 1 second, so it's 0.3 for the lead once again. So Jason Staney leading John Allen. Better run onto the back stretch for Staney this time, but Allen in the 48. Well, he's right there, 0.4 behind, 0.36, 0.35, 0.33, 0.32. The gap coming down as the slipstream does what it does. The car behind picking up just a little bit more straight line speed. Looking, not this time. Maybe Allen looks to the inside, deep, late on the brakes. We'll get it pulled up. We'll get it towards the apex. They're too wide through turn 10 there. I think Staney just gets a little bit better drive off the corner. Who knows? It's 0.1 of a second. And this time they cross the line. 3 laps to go to see who'll take home the big haul of points in the round 1 Road Atlanta of the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series.
That was a fantastic showcase of driving in respect in that final corner there. I got a little nervous. I saw a puff of dust off John Staney's right wheels as he entered that final corner, and I was like, oh no, did he clip a wheel and lose it? And right as I say that, John Allen goes off course in our favorite corner of this race, and also the most casual corner, and he's lost a whole chunk of time here, David, in this first section. He's now 0.8, almost coming up on a full second on this lap here. Really tough lap for John Allen. He can't afford to be losing any more time right now with, as you said, 4 minutes left in this race.
Yep, like Indiana Jones trying to get out of some kind of, temple and the walls coming down. The window of opportunity closing, and you don't want to leave your hat behind either. And one thing to say,
Dave, I'm sorry, speaking of an opportunity closing, Alex Albert has completely blown the top S's and has a course cut. He's now having to let Tom Ellison and Cofford go by, and he almost had to let Fawcett go by as well. So a big mistake for Alex Albert, who was running in P3 on that last lap.
Yep, indeed, that kind of plays into what I was going to say, is that there were all of our leaders were just getting into, the 1 minute 38s, 1 minute 37s. Now the sun has set. No one out there is doing much quicker than a 1 minute 40. That's because of the traffic, but that's also because the visibility markedly less. And you know what, as I say that, Jason Stanley and John Allen go and do some 1 minute 38s, but it was true of the lap before that no one was quicker than a 1 minute 40. Just says that the traffic and the visibility are reducing. We've got a battle for 8th place now as well. It's Shane Norton and Matthew Smith.
Yeah, and David, I hate to break it again, but John D. Allen has just messed up the top section. A really, really difficult moment avoiding a lap car there, and he is again back down to 6/10. At the same time, Stanley is also approaching a lap car that's going to give him a bit of a push. David, this is getting really interesting right now with these guys having to deal with all this lap traffic with just a few minutes left. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. Having a look down the order, I think we've still got potentially 32 cars still running. So look once again still at that lead. Jason Stanley has got 0.4 of a second on John Allen. And coming down the back stretch, Allen closing. Will he do anything now? Because it will be 1 lap to go in just 2 corners time. So both of them take their line through turn 10, up the hill, under the bridge, down the hill through the fast sweeping final corner. The exit of that corner, there is the finish line, there is the flagger stand, there is where you need to be ahead in just 1 minute and 40 seconds time. I don't think we can afford at the moment to take our eyes away from this lead battle on the last lap, because it's close as it's ever been, and in 1 lap's time, that's when the points are paid, that's when the prizes are given out, so to speak. Jason Stanley leads, John Allen second, and the slipstream, the run down the back stretch and the braking into turn 10 will be absolutely critical. It's 2/10 now. John Allen, I'm sure, thinking about how to set up the perfect exit from this next corner. Almost thinks about going to the inside there. My goodness. Runs a little wide, grabs plenty of that curb, so it doesn't cost him too much. Jason Stanley weaving about, wiggling a little bit. He knows white flag was last time. This time is going to be the checkered flag. The gap closes. 1.5 tenths. 1 tenth. Stanley goes towards the inside to try and defend. Allen will have to brake very, very deep around the outside. They're side by side, door to door. And deeper on the brakes goes John Allen. Can he get it turned towards the apex? Not quite. They're still door to door through the final chicane up the hill. Better run for Jason Stanley. He has to try and squeeze John Allen towards the apex. He's got his nose in front, does the 62 car, and there's contact in the final corner. They rub. Who will be first across the line? I think it will be John Allen, because Jason Stanley is in the wall in the final corner. And will he get to the line before Thomas Ellison, Alex Albert, and Alex Coffard come through? Potentially, no. Tom Ellison is coming down the back stretch now into turn 10. He leads that train of 3. Alex Albert behind him. Alex Coffard in 5th. Good run from Ellison. Alex Albert was compromised. Coffard goes to the inside. Same situation as we've just seen. Albert and Coffard door to door. Coffard on the inside. Cuts as much of the curb as he can. Carries as much momentum as possible. Who got to the line first? I think it was Alex Albert by beyond the slimmest of margins, less than a hundredth of a second, getting down to the thousandth of seconds to decide fourth place in this race. Still some other battles out there on this lap. Eighth is one we're going to look at now because Matthew Smith is right behind Shane Norton.
Behind Shane Norton, but David, that was a fantastic call. There's so much action. I think we're all going to have to take a bit of a look at the end of that race there between the incident between John Allen and Jason Staney. Jason Staney was able to hold on to that P2, but my goodness.
Coming under the bridge, 8th place, Shane Norton has to go to the inside, try and make Matthew Smith go the long way. And these guys are also going to cross the line side by side. Shane Norton just grabbing that one for what's ended up being 6th place, as Jason Staney has not made it to the finish. Is there anyone else still out there on the lead lap in a battle? I don't think so. And looking at the classified results now. All right, okay. So I think what we'll have to do now is I'll have to take a big, deep breath, Aaron, and then in a second, we'll have a look at the classified finishing order. In fact, we might grab a replay of first and second crossing the line right now. Aaron, you can talk about this one, how you see it, because I'm sure this is going to be very contentious and lots of people are going to be talking about it.
Yeah, David, I'm going to try and get a view myself. That was a heck of a finish, to say the least. Like, they're coming up the hill here, just door to door. I mean, swapping mirrors. And I don't want to say any of that was intentional. I think that was just some extremely close racing. But John D. Allen, it was a bit overzealous. That moment, he kind of went for the bumper there. I am all for, maybe giving a door, maybe giving a tap to possibly gain yourself a bit of a side draft advantage or anything like that. But David, I worry that was a bit of an aggressive move. But I think we'll have some post-race analysis from the ChampCar group here and maybe release a statement on that, because there may be some hot heads because of that final moment there.
Yep, indeed. I tell you what, my opinion isn't the final word here, but how I am seeing that is just Jason Staney's tried to turn in towards the last corner, and in the dark, turned just a little bit too early. Maybe just unfortunately spun himself on John Allen. And again, I'm saying this is just my opinion and not a steward's call of how it went down, but I just think maybe in the dark, they couldn't quite see where the apex was. Staney on the outside just had to turn in somewhere. And John Allen had his steering wheel pointing to the right at all times on the inside. He just had Staney come across. So we'll go down the results now, because this is how I am seeing the finishing order. Your winner of 2019 ChampCar Sim Series Round 1, 60 minutes of Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, is John Allen, but not without a little bit of drama and some fantastic battling. Jason Staney, I think, just managed to crawl across the line 1.2 seconds behind. And then third place, Tom Ellison, as Alex Coffard and Alex Albert went absolutely door to door, crossing the finish line in an absolute photo finish in the dark. I'm seeing that as 0.003 of a second separating fourth from fifth. Sixth place is then Andrew Fawcett. Seventh place goes to Grayson Badoli. Eighth goes to Shane Norton. Ninth to Matthew Smith. And 10th to an absolutely charging up 16 places, Benjamin Shout. And from 11th place, Aaron Thacker will run us down.
Yeah, I will agree with you. As a shout out to Benjamin Shot as well. That was a fantastic drive. We got P11 for Ryan Waldo, P12 Jason Gata, P13 Chris Fleming, who had a fantastic race. I think he ran into a bit of a trouble at the end there, so unfortunate result for Chris Fleming running down one spot from where he started. Justin Hall, P14, David Evans, P15, Kelly Stoops, P16, Chris Kensley in P17, Ross Banfield in 18, Brian Cheney P19, and Jim McGill running out in P20.
And just keep running down those orders of the full finishes while I see if I can try and grab some people for an interview.
Absolutely, David. We'll get some folks up here in the booth, but that does not leave without mentioning Lee Molman in P21, Brett Haywood P22, David Carpenter P23, Tyler James P24, Dwight Vaught P25, Andrew Shembri P26, and that leaves the final cars on the 2-lap down streak, and just below that, 5 laps down, Masita Bola in P27, Will Robbins P28, Jacob Miller 7 laps down in P29, and Kyle Smith with a difficult race 9 laps down in P30. Just to finish out the order here, Kerry Morris P31, Nicholas Love P32, Corinne Carter P33, Roshi Patel 34, Corey Brown P35, Bradley Daly in P36, Clayton Brown P37, and our final driver that was able to grid tonight, unfortunately 26 laps down for Hyder Arain in P38. The remainder of the field unfortunately did not grid tonight. Mark Antonucci, Matthew Ragsdale, Shane Cameron, Zach Sitzberger, and Luis Morga. David, I am now done with that very, very big grid tonight.
Yep, exactly. I'm still not being able to grab any of our top 3, but who we do have to have a quick chat with us here is QJAS owner Alex Albert. And Alex, 5th place for you, but that battle for 3rd place was intense.
Yeah, nothing to be disappointed about there. That was a great race. Once I lost the lead draft there, that it would be a hour-long battle with my teammates Tom and Cofford, and it didn't disappoint with coming down to the line. And I think I heard you say 0.003 of a second between me and Cofford. So that, what a great race, and I hope everyone enjoyed watching.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think that was a very exciting start to the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series. And I know it's a series that you are rather fond of, and I expect we'll see you for all of the remaining points rounds if you can.
Oh yeah, for sure. Going to try to defend the championship, so I'll be here whenever possible. So yeah, hope to see you everywhere.
All right, so we've got a couple people who've come in to also have an interview. So we've got...
All right, well, thanks everyone. Thanks to all the guys back at the factory. And yep,
cheers, Alex.
Thanks for what you guys do.
And well, he's just disappeared, and I don't have the power to drag Jason Staney into the broadcast booth to have a word with him. But here we have him, 2nd place finisher, Jason Staney. And of course, the big question, I think, on everyone's mind, how did you see that last corner incident?
Well, I don't know. Just hard racing. I thought, because it's dark, obviously, you can't really see that well. I thought I was over farther to the left. And, I turned in. It just so happened that I think I may have turned in too much. And when I look back at the replay, I don't know how to judge it, really. I think it's more of if I had to blame anyone, I think it'd mostly be me, just because I was the car on the outside. I turned in. So I know John, he's a clean racer. Everything's cool. No worries.
Yeah, and well, 2nd place still, you did manage to scrape across the line. And that's not a bad start to the series. That's still some good points haul. And do you think you'll be showing up for all the remaining rounds? Do you think you can grab a win sometime later in the championship?
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope, definitely. The races are fun. Definitely was not expecting the difference in pace as much as there was, because the last time we did a race around there, it was the Pro Series qualifier with Core Sim Racing, and we managed to scrape out a 6th place win. And I guess everyone was a lot closer in pace, so you could be a lot more aggressive with traffic, and everyone kind of knew what they were doing to a point to avoid all like the little bits of net code and everything. So I think I was also a little bit too aggressive with traffic in some places. That led to some incidents. Yeah, my bad to anyone caught up in that. Very sorry. But yeah, no, races are fun, and yeah, I like to keep doing them.
You did have a 3-second longer pit stop than John Allen, but then you managed to close that up. Is there anything you'd change with your pit strategy if you did it all again?
Not be so scared when you look at the fuel calculator and you see 1.2 as you come over the hill, and kind of trust it a bit more. That was pretty funny. But yeah, just overall be more confident with what the software is telling me, you know.
Well, I think all drama aside, you had a very good race, some very good battles, and in the end did manage to grab those points. So while we've got you on air, anyone you need to thank on behalf of your team, or any shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Core Sim Racing. Even though we don't really compete and stuff like this, it's still a great team. You know, they support me through the Pro Series and GT qualifiers. I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting, as well as Huge Ass for putting all this on. You know, it's really fun, really cool to see all these old people drive these, not old people, excuse me, all these cool people drive this old car. It's still really, really fun, and I wish iRacing would bring it back, but that's about it. Thank you guys.
Right, well, fantastic. Jason Stenny there, and we'll grab our race winner, John Allen. I've got to say, great work to you grabbing the top step of the podium in the first points round of the series. Does that feel good? That's a good start to your series.
Points wise, sure, it feels great. You hate that it has to come with a little drama at the end there. That was a little dicey ending to a very, very awesome race. Traffic played its part. You know, it giveth and it taketh away. So but we were always, kind of attached there, it seemed. But in the end, at least it didn't cost Jason, more than the one spot potentially. He was still able to cross before, rather than winding up on his top or something and everybody else went by. I was real worried. I tried to stop before crossing the line. And just couldn't stop, but maybe 3 inches too late in case it was my fault. But looked at the replay, and it's in that dark. I mean, you can't even, it's near impossible to tell. I wish it hadn't happened, but I think it's just a very dramatic racing incident in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So racing through the sunset and into the darkness, from your perspective, how much more difficult did it get once the sun was below the horizon?
Significantly. It's I didn't realize the speed. I kind of was a late join here. I forgot that the season was starting when it was, and I jumped into the session in time to qualify and get some practice laps in. But I didn't realize that it was going to wind up dark, and so yeah, with lights on in the room, which I otherwise would have changed, it was very difficult visibility at the end. But I still love that feature, and to be able to race in the changing conditions like that. I hope to do it, in real life at Road Atlanta sometime. I haven't had the pleasure yet.
And well, taking the big points now puts you in the championship lead, makes you one of the favorites for the championship. If you did win, which prize would you be looking at, and what would it mean to you?
Well, I have a feeling that I probably won't. I have some real world commitments. I don't know. We'll see. I'll cross that bridge at that time. I don't know that I'll be here enough to hold the points, even if I win every time I show. But maybe I'll find a way if I'm still there in the end. It certainly is not. It's no small thing, and clearly out of the gate, the competition is really good quality. So I want to get back as often as possible.
All right. Well, any thanks, any shout outs while you're on air?
For jumping in late like this, I apologize to anybody if I wasn't more informed about it or did anything not maybe in line with the ruling or anything. But it's an incredible run league. Clearly, everybody's got great racecraft, good manners, and just a great time. I look forward to more. And thanks you guys for being part of it. Put on a good.
Right. Well, we've heard from plenty of people now, Aaron, and I guess if you could use 2 sentences to sum up this race, what are your thoughts?
David, I cannot believe you're going to make me run this down with 2 sentences, but I'm going to think right now 2 sentences. That was a lot of fun to watch, and holy crap, is the dark really, really difficult with these cars. I think we heard all those guys, at the very end they're saying, like, if this was daylight conditions, it would have been different. If this was daylight conditions, I would have driven different. I think we saw a lot of challenges come through with this, and I think we also, that basically, let's call it the death hill, Dave. At the very beginning there, we saw a ton of trouble, and I don't discredit the light being a big, big problem because of that.
Yeah, precisely. So that's round 1 in the books. And thank you everyone who has joined us for this broadcast. Please do subscribe because we will be bringing broadcasts of every points round of the ChampCar Sim series in 2019. Really looking forward to covering that for you guys. Really hoping you tune in once again because it's put on an absolute show. We saw fantastic battles at the pointy end of the field. Drama for the lead in the last corner. And I hope the racing stays that close. And as we get deeper into the season, we'll have a better idea who will be taking the big prize of a drive in a real ChampCar Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Really, really looking forward to that one. So do make sure if you want to join this series, you still can. And with the 4 drop rounds, you're still in championship contention. Now is as good a time to join as ever. Go to forum.champcar.org, and that's got all the information about how you can sign up, about the championship, and even broadcast information as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm David Haynes. Alongside me was Aaron Thacker, our broadcast man for all of the cameras, Michael Derby, doing a fantastic job as always. Cannot do it without him. But from all of us here at HJBC, thank you so much. We've got more broadcasts coming up like the Reddit iRacing League as well. So subscribe for that too, and we'll see you in a couple weeks' time as well for the next round of the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series. Good night.